Hello, I'm Richard Seltzer. I'd like to share with you a romantic story from my book, To Gether Tales, which will soon be published by All Things That Matter Press. In the book, the narrator, in the midst of the pandemic, thinks back to a 7-day Caribbean cruise he was on a few years before, in which 8 people shared a dinner table and swapped stories every night. The narrator laments that with social distancing and mask wearing, love at first sight, it may no longer be possible. Imagine you were on that cruise, and this story is told by someone sitting across from you at the dinner table. Dance instructor. It's easy to feel lonely on a cruise ship, lonelier than living alone, Beth began her nightly tale at table 110 on the Regal Princess. You're forever reminded of your loneliness by the happy couples around you. And it's easy to mistake relationships in a cruise ship. When you see 2 people on Fifth Avenue, you have no clue how they might be connected. They might have just met and be flirting, or they might be old friends reunited after many years, or they might be married to one another and miserable together, but not wanting anyone to know that their marriage has failed and that they're miserable. But on a cruise ship, the odds are great that they make one another happy and sleep together and enjoy one another. This might be their honeymoon or their second honeymoon or their 50th honeymoon. This is a special time for them, a time when they are freed from the distractions and responsibilities of everyday life, when they can delight in one another and connect and rediscover what it means to be in love. I'm sure when people see Harry and me together here, they think that we fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. We complete one another in our differences, the ways we walk together and talk together. We aren't 2 random people who happen to be with one another. We're a couple, a new combined and inseparable entity. We aren't hydrogen and oxygen. We're water with unique properties of water, as if we were meant to be together from the moment we were born, or before that, in pre-heaven for souls. And forces of nature brought us together so we could become the couple we were meant to be, that we had to be. So when we saw this young couple dancing, Harry and I presumed they were together, really together, the way their bodies flowed together to the music. They didn't need to look at one another. They didn't need to talk to one another. They moved as one and enjoyed the movements in the presence of the beloved partner, now pressed close and now at arm's length, back and forth, but always, even when not touching, when each moved separately to the music, truly together. She was maybe 18 or 20, maybe in college, or maybe having left college to marry her partner, was 10 years older than she, with a good job, doing well enough to afford this cruise and probably to have a house with a picket fence and a mortgage to force them to be financially stable and reliable, eventually to have a child or 2 or 3 that they have dreamed of together, the couple naturally morphing into a family. All of that was obvious to Harry and me, standing, watching them on the dance floor. Then, when the next song started, they left the floor and he returned with another partner, a woman 10 years older than him, the same height as the first woman, the same general build, but more flesh around the middle. The same black hair, but short and shaped by a stylist, not long and flowing with the movements of her body like the first dance partner. I guessed, and Harry agreed, that this was the young girl's mother, the young man's mother-in-law. He had politely invited her to dance as he would have at his wedding, which, considering the age of his wife, had been recent, not more than a year ago. Maybe this was a first anniversary cruise. But they danced too well together. If she were his mother-in-law, it was scandalous how tightly he held her, and how delighted she seemed when she was close to him, and how well they moved together, like they danced together for years and slept together and had children together. Everything that seemed beautiful and romantic when he was with a younger woman became unsettling, almost disgusting, if you believed she was his wife's mother, his Mrs. Robinson. The song ended. They left the dance floor. Then he came back with another woman, similar in build to the 2 others. At first we guessed this might be the sister of the last one. Then, when the flow of the waltz brought them near us, we realized that she was older, old enough to be the mother of the second one. Harry and I looked at each other in disbelief. The grandmother of the bride? Who brings along a grandmother on an anniversary cruise? Maybe it was a family thing, a very close family, and the father or the grandfather, no, not to be sexist, maybe the mother or the grandmother was wealthy and was generously paying for them all to be here and share in this family reunion. But they too danced too well together. The two previous pairings had seemed perfect from the harmony of their movements. This one was beyond perfect. They executed difficult and elaborate moves it would have been almost impossible to imitate, and they did so with the greatest of ease. All eyes followed them, and couple after couple stopped in the middle of the floor to watch them until they were the only couple dancing. And when the music ended, the audience broke out in applause for them. They didn't stop there. They didn't leave the floor. They danced again and again. Waltz, foxtrot, cha-cha, rumba, merengue, tango. Yes, their tango was exquisite and scandalous. The way she leaned back, her short hair nearly touching the floor, and she extended her foot, running up the inside of his leg all the way to his crotch. This could have been a dance show in a cabaret, except she was older than 60, and he was younger than 30. We were mesmerized and dumbfounded. We came up with outlandish scenarios. He was making love with all three of them, both separately and as threesomes and as a foursome. He was a gigolo. The grandmother was the one paying for him and was sometimes sharing his services with her daughter and granddaughter. What else could we make of it? Well, Adolf, you wanted a story about love across generations. This was that to the power of 3. When the music ended and the band packed up and the crowd dispersed, we spotted the 4 of them sitting at the International Cafe, enjoying a midnight snack. Our curiosity got the better of our manners. We walked up to them and congratulated them on their dance skills. I couldn't bring myself to ask about the relationship, but I did ask, how did you learn to dance that well? Have you been taking lessons for years? Ah, yes, for years, the grandmother replied. Antonio has been my dance instructor for 10 years, and he's taught my daughter for, it must be 5 years, and my granddaughter just started lessons from him. She learns quickly. She has talent. We all enjoy ballroom dancing and dancing with Antonio so much that I paid his way and pay him a salary besides, and I paid for his wife as well to come along as long as he promised to dance with us. That's when we noticed the 4th lady standing behind him with her hands on his shoulders, smiling proudly. If you enjoyed this story, please let me know in comments or by email to me. That's seltzer@seltzerbooks.com. And I'll do more of the same. You can find my books at Amazon. My name again is Richard Seltzer, as in Alka-Seltzer. My most recent books are Parallel Lives, Beyond the Fourth Door, and Nevermind. They can be read in any order. They are independent stories with overlapping theme and styles. Each presents a different view of reality, a different way of trying to make sense of the mysteries of life.